It's a scene straight out of James Bond. Russian intelligence agencies claim Ukraine attempted to steal a TU-22M3 strategic bomber from a Russian airbase. How easy is it to steal a nuclear-capable strategic bomber? Joining me to discuss this is Group Captain V.N. Jha and my colleague Deepak Badana, who tracks military matters. Group Captain Jha, how easy is it for a defector to fly away with a strategic bomber of the kind that Russia claims Ukraine planned to implement?
As you started saying that it is a James Bond, thriller. So, movie-like episodes, it is possible anywhere. Whatever situations, whatever complexity, it is all possible. But knowing Russia fully well and the war that it is being there, a lot of narratives, many of them fake. They do plenty of rounds, and we have been watching this for last 2 years. Many times we have discussed on numerous channels with many of the experts in the field. So theoretically, is it possible? Yes, it is possible. If there is a pilot who belongs to the Russian forces, onto whom Russia feels that he has got the integrity to fly that particular sortie. If the sortie is planned, if the particular base has authorized that particular sortie and lets that pilot to sign and take that aircraft from the base, and that pilot has changed its loyalty and lands at somewhere in the Ukraine air base somewhere. It is possible theoretically, but it doesn't happen that way. What happens is when we take an aircraft for the flying, no one can just walk to the aircraft and start up and push off anywhere. There are so many checks and balances in place at any of the airfield. First, you have to take the aircraft which has undergone all the servicing. It is refueled. It is ready for another takeoff. Secondly, the technical staff, they are available there and they help you because, when you start up an engine, there are a lot of things happen, a lot of sequences, a lot of things happen. Otherwise, the runway is closed, runway is blocked. In any of the bases, when the flying is not expected, runway is closed. There are barricades on the runway and other things. So you go to the squadron where the aircraft is there, sign off all the things, take the safety crew, take the servicing staff. They go and help you in the startup, you taxi. Your air traffic control is with you, who clears that, yes, the runway is available in that field. You take ADS, Air Defense Safety Norms, in which all the nearby air defense bases tell you that you are free, you are clear to go. Otherwise, you cannot. You can be locked. Your own aircraft can be locked by the air defense system, missiles, and so on, and right. It can be shot on. In case if the authority is sure that the aircraft has taken off without permission, it can be shot at.
Yeah, it's turned rogue or.
Absolutely. Yes. So there are many of these sort of checks and balances, and remember, no pilot loses the integrity like the type that we are talking of. Yes. It is only in the films that we can think of. It doesn't happen that way. So coming back to my original sentence, that in the wartime, in the war zones, a lot of fake narrative continue. And we know that whether it is Russia or whether it is Ukraine, yes, the world media is not available for the immediate cross-check. Ukraine, they have banned everything. Only Western media is permitted there. So what were they let to come here? That is how we see it there. So all these things happen. It doesn't happen that way.
It doesn't happen that way. But the interesting part is that Group Captain Jha, the Russians have offered a bounty of $1 million for a Ukrainian pilot who would fly to Russian Federation airspace with an F-16. If they can fly it, they get a reward of $1 million and possibly citizenship as well. What do you make of that? The war of competing narratives. You bring a plane. What's the objective really? Is it propaganda? I mean, obviously, these are aircraft that have been around for many years. Everyone knows their capability. So, it's essentially it's a propaganda victory for both sides, right?
Kabir, it is a propaganda, campaign that runs in wartime. Every country, yes, every zone, they do it. Now, Russia, will they be greedy enough to spare that much of money in the hard times. For an F-16, I don't think so. Yes, theoretically, the upgrades that happen in the aircraft, the avionics, and that F-16 is still sought after in many of the countries. So the avionics of the F-16 and the maneuverability of the F-16 is something fantastic. But then Russia has got F-35. It is far beyond the capability of F-16s. So Russia has got all those things, but giving this bounty, offering this bounty to a Ukrainian pilot shows that the Ukrainian pilots have got that moral let down, that they are ready to fly that F-16 to the Russian territory. How much of benefit that will have, I don't know, but yes, it will be a morale booster for Russia, just for sake that one
a morale booster. Yeah,
and the morale down for Ukrainian.
Yes. It's a battle of narratives, as you mentioned, Group Captain Jha. But Deepak, you've been listening in. You remember in 1976 what happened? Victor Balenko flew his MiG-25 Foxbat into Japan, and that was the most eagerly anticipated arrival of a defecting pilot, because the West got its hands on an aircraft that they'd heard so much about but they'd never seen, and they literally took that aircraft apart. But that was in 1976. And this incident only tells us that we are in the middle of a new Cold War.
Truly. I mean, see, 1976, the stakes were slightly different because that aircraft was an enigma to the West.
Enigmas, but now I think these
but
are
it was nevertheless
a
major propaganda victory, and this is precisely as the gentleman has just spoken about.
Thank you very much, Group Captain Jha and my colleague Deepak Badana, for that story on how to steal a bomber, a war of competing narratives between Russia and Ukraine.